Whew. Sorry, y'all. We like the battle got. The fuck about a Virgo season unscathed. I will say that though. We finna ready to transition into Libra season, and I'm okay with it though, because you hear me say Libra. The number October is the number 10. Even though when I probably upload this, it'll probably be a day before. This is gonna be the monthly reading. I told you I'm gonna slim down on first class. The two fell out. I ain't doing and the Nine of Swords. But it's upright though. That speaks of necessarily like maintaining a position or whatever the case may be when it comes to financial situations or just I say Four of Pentacles give me like the heart chakra, sacral, and root. So it's kind of like those though. So it could be healthy, balancing situations, overcoming adversities, and understanding situations. Back to what I was saying though, not to necessarily be transitioning into the now that we transitioning into I'm rubbing this crystal. Now that we transitioning into no shit, we coming out of Virgo season though, whatever the case may be. We going into Libra season. I told you I kind of like it though because it's the number 10, and it speaks of kind of like the harvesting season necessarily when it goes onto the wheel of fortune. I told you the number 9 is stagnancy, complacency. That's like karma. That's in the space of like what you do is. It's kind of like if you always do what you always done, you will always get what you always do. That's a tongue twister. But it's kind of like that energy though. So you hear me say now that we roll it into the Libra energy, I tell you it's kind of like about completing, finishing certain things and certain tasks where certain things may feel burden is being very I tell you, like Libra season giving me like a very fickle type energy. It really is. It's more of it's like a fickle type energy where you hear me say it's like needing to contemplate to go so coming out of a stagnancy where a lot of us where we've been lagging doing videos or for me pushing out blog posts or not keeping up with the channel because the Virgo season made me take a hit. It was just like shit, rest. The fuck you been working or whatever the case may be, like the ending of the harvesting season for some, but it was like shit, you already done the work, let it make. But it's like still you gotta make sure that if you want to keep up the routine, you gotta put it out. So that's like that Libra season. It's kind of like being sure, understanding, like what's necessarily like balancing the scales the way you should. So before we get into this, I told y'all though this would be uploaded the day before though. I was like, let me go ahead and get to it though, because I told you I liked pushing them out on the like round of 21st, 22nd, so I wouldn't have to wait all the way until the end of the month. Because if I did, I did, but that was just throwing me off waiting till the end of the month and then having to rush and then it rolls over to the next month. Like, so yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna try to keep this short and cute. I'm using a Hoodoo Tarot. By the way. We're gonna keep this short. I told you I'm gonna get my camera, so y'all ain't gotta worry about this. I'm gonna get the little thing, so I'm gonna set it up over there on this side. So what we do from now on, we might have some where you see my face, but if I can get the other camera where we can like, I have to hook up the HDMI and all the different types of things, so you can see two at once, like that type of energy. So you can see me, but you can see me too. I don't know if I want to do that though. So I ain't into that techie shit like that. But I am okay. Alright, let's go. There we go. So let's see. Oh, there you go. So let's see what we getting into for Libra season. Bottom of the deck. Oh shit. This is Miss Robinson though. It's a cardinal sign. I tell y'all about Miss Robinson all the time. She is the epitome of the Capricorn deck. For some of y'all though, when Miss Robinson come out, for those of y'all into relationship, it's like questioning, saying, hey, my lover may be cheating on me. For some of y'all, it's like thinking about the consequences, where Miss Robinson teaches about in the deck, like the devil type energy that we speak of. It's like contemplating before you do certain things. Like, are you sure? Like, are you sure necessarily that this is something that you want to deal with? Like, is it, oh, wait a minute. You got the garden, and then you got Libra type energy. Um, Speaks of harvest. Let me get it out. Ms. Robinson speaks of like contemplating like the different actions that goes into play or whatever the case may be. Like I'm gonna show y'all shit because it's throwing me out. But the energy speaks of necessarily where it talks about. Shit, let me just get them out though. Then I'll tell y'all. So I don't know why. That's the freeman. That's the fool. You got three of pentacles. Scorpionic type energy. That's like ancestors. Do you know who your ancestors are? Eight of Cups. That's reversed. You got Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles, the Tower, the Page of Wands, and you got the Knight of Swords. My bad, y'all got it up. All right, now we got all of them out. Bam. So boom. Now that we got this is where I say going into like Libra season and fickle type energy because Ms. Robinson speaks of like contemplating before you do certain things because a lot of times most people can be very reactionary or people feel like they accumulate a certain amount of information. Going into Libra season, that's kind of like balancing the scales where people talk about karma from the tarot deck where it talks about emotional biasness, justiceness, right, wrong, moral laws. It could be cases, it could be separations, divorcements, settlements, all those different types of things. So Ms. Robinson necessarily, when it comes out, it tells you like, hey, think about this. So it's kind of like if you're out here in this season jugging, finessing, because we know Robin season is coming up. Because a lot of people ain't been having jobs or whatever the case may be. So it's like contemplate before you do next. Contemplate before you make actions or whatever the case may be. And like actually question yourself and be self-aware while we're moving into that season. So you won't come up and put yourself in situations where you kind of be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Or whatever the case may be. It's like learn to wait. You just waited, but it's a healthy wait. Virgo season had us lagging and like self-analyzing and being hyperly critical of ourselves or certain things or situations. It's more like, okay, well, I got all of what's below the surface. Now, how can I put this into a transformative process? Because you do got Scorpionic energy. I told you I do 13 cards. So that's about transformation, what's lagging, what's stuck, drama, all those different types of things. Okay, let's go. On the bottom of the deck, we got whew, we got Mother of Baskets and the Daughter of Baskets. I told y'all this. I have been getting like a lot of family drama though, because a lot of people skipped over Cancerian season, and like after we left there, we moved into Leo season. So a lot of people was necessarily in the energy of what makes making them feel good. So when Virgo season came around, it was kind of like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and necessarily a lot of people was not. They found out like the things they were doing weren't making them happy. So now that we're going into Libra season and people trying to complete or rush through karmic type cycles, a lot of people are where they're hit with the idea of should I do this? Should I not do this? Or well, I tried this, but let me try to recorrect the type of behavior. So we got mother and daughter, and then we got the son of coins. For some of y'all know I tell you this family dynamic where we see like the differences in the two. I told you I've been getting this great downloads of situations where it's kind of like two siblings going at each other, or this like somebody feels like somebody had a disadvantage. So trickling into Libra seasons, kind of like that energy is gonna be annoying over there because you're gonna have everybody with they think pieces, this. It's like, okay. But a lot of people don't be doing their bias. Just state you bias, and that's how you feel. Okay. We got Daughter of Cups and the Mother of Cups, though. The Mother of Cups is the kind of energy where you can be say it could be somebody that's like kind of depressed, not happy, not emotional fulfilled, like you're looking for certain things. Your feminine energy from the emotional aspect for it's giving you an understanding where it feels like it's hurt. The Daughter of Cups necessarily is a person. The Knight of Cups is necessarily in this deck. It speaks of a person that's necessarily resentful. Like you could be harboring hatred for a person and you necessarily don't speak up or say necessarily how it is that you feel. Some of y'all, it's a mother and daughter or son and father or parental type experience. This is the energy of like being impacts higher self versus younger self, the enjoyment, the process that goes into some. My bad, y'all. This is like the enjoyment and the process that goes into something. So it's kind of like somebody's being drained and not necessarily communicating it. So it's like taxing the adult life. Now we got Son of Coins. So this got something to do with money. This is the Page of Coins, though. I told y'all the Page of Coins. Ideally, I told you it's kind of like before you get through the apprentice type state. or you reach night status. So it's something you're doing. It's kind of like going to school. It can be job promotions, like awareness, understanding. Doesn't mean that it doesn't accumulate wealth. It has the Nine of Cups though. So the Nine of Cups could be necessarily where it's like stuck, stagnancy, complacency, all those different types of things, not making a move when it comes to your dreams or things that you necessarily prioritize. Moving on, we also have the Four of Cups with the Queen. The Four Cups and the Big Queen, the Four Cups is necessarily a card of, we all know, like sitting in a place, like harboring emotions, letting your emotions get in the way. And the Big Queen is the Sun, or necessarily where it speaks of compromisation, the elder, the person who you talk to. It could be the lack of this, a parental type experience though, because Mother of Cups could be the reverse absentee mom, ideally though, but this could be speaking about like what in the harvesting season while the sun is going down that you want to be fertilized. So that's why I said that fickle, like you could tell like it's gonna be some fickle, persnickety, higher intelligence verbiages, like type, like communication with a lot of people. Y'all just gonna be going in y'all bag, and y'all like, let me get in my bag. Okay, you got the garden, you got butterflies, you got the Three of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles. I tell you, the garden speaks of necessarily like things that you tend to. It also speaks of when you see this card to mind your business. No shade, but I always say this though. I said, leaving Capricorn always in somebody's business. I said that's something y'all gotta grow through though. So the garden is necessarily tending to your own while we're in this karmic type divine. So if you find yourself coming out of complacency, leaving Virgo season to where you're accumulating certain things that don't soothe you, make sure you're very mindful. Ideally, though, that you don't return back to a state of that necessarily doesn't make you happy, because the Seven of Pentacles is like, in this deck, it speaks of like sowing the same thing over and over and over again. So for some people, it's like, oh yeah, things ain't came into fruition for me, so I'm gonna go do this, like going ass backwards with the Three of Wands, because Three of Wands can be failed business ventures, failed actions, necessarily when it comes to money or monetary gain or the relationships or healing. So that's why I said, whoo, I feel it now with the reading. That's why I was like, let me just go and get this one out the way. Because I told you I'm going to slack up on the weeklies, even though people was like, y'all don't watch them no way. Okay, you got Dr. Buzzard. I told you this is cases. Uh, court documents, all those different types of things. We got Freeman, the Three of Coins, or whatever the case may be. And then you have the Tower. For some of y'all are dealing with like some fast type changes though. The big house speaks of where it's like dealing with fast changes, where you hear me say it's tough titty, said the kitty, but the milk's still good. That's what my grandma used to say when she was like breastfeeding and you say you're raw, your nipples raw and all these different types of stuff. She like, that baby don't care, that baby just trying to eat. Like that shit she used to say. So Dr. Buzzard could be like karmic type situations necessarily, because a lot of people fail to recognize that they're accumulating karmic debt. The karmic season does exposes our own selfish type needs, because you do have the Three of Pentacles and the Freeman and the Learning. So for some of y'all though, it's like jumping into, like if it's the garden, if it's other people things, or just to emotionally avoid self, going into that, because it is an air sign crossed by a fire sign and they necessarily don't like to feel their emotions. So jumping out of that, you'll be accumulating something very fast, where you hear me say the Miss Robinson came in. It's like, hey, contemplate before you do a lot of shit. Think about it. You don't have to stand your ground. At the Nine of Wands though, for some of y'all though, this could be protection. It could be protection orders. It could be separating. It could be the idea. It could be like finding the balance in between work and home. Because the big house could be a house, so it could be an institution. It could be a school, whatever it is. And when it comes to teaching type matters, you have the Scorpio Runner, you have the Eight of Cups, but you also got the Son of Sticks, though. So I tell you, the Son of Sticks is a page of wands. It's kind of like bad news. It could be a person that's arrogant, egotistical. No, that's the night. It could just be, no, that's the night. My bad. It's like it's like bad mouthing, but it also speaks of, it also speaks of the energy of a person who likes to bring up like negative Nancy type topics. That's why I said with the family dynamic and being challenged in that space, it's going, I tell you, beginning to downloads like where it's the disadvantage. It could be the parenting type style. It could be favoritism. Because it's like this energy of a person who always gets away with something and now they're finally being clocked out. So it's kind of like that energy though. So I tell you, ancestors necessary is the protections. If we're in family type drama, that speaks of your lineages. So it's like the karmic situations as we talk about past life. Like what emotionally are you avoiding? For some of y'all though, this could be what are you avoiding or trying to understand, or like what are you avoiding to understand and necessarily to learn. I would say that though, because Eight of Cups necessarily speaks of like emotional reclusive. Ah, shit. Here we go. It's like emotionally reclusive. You got 10 of coins, 7 of 9s, Miss Robinson, and you got them bones. I told y'all that Libra season gonna be real fickle though. Fickle, 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 fickle. It's gonna be real fickle though. Yeah, that is. Like people think I'm playing. Because you got 10 of coins and 7 of 9s. I told y'all this speaks of like family dynamic for a lot of people. You hear me say that baby daddy, baby mama drama was going on in Virgo season. It rolled over from Leo. I was like, Jesus, I want to stop talking about this though. But somebody probably needed. Ten of Pentacles could be family debt. I told you the passing, you do have those ancestor type reaping. So it could be money, awareness, finding out certain things, financial abundance, but you also have 7 of Swords. Some of y'all, I can even say last night from like talking in a dream state or just ethers, like a lot of people were talking about like family aspects. How a lot of people family, where it was like, how do you deal with this on the work dynamic? For some of y'all, it's like financially getting cut off, or it's like rejecting family heritages. I told you it's like the differences of I don't want to do this, I want to do something different. And the 7 of Swords could be not ability to, like inability to be able to stand up. For some of y'all though, if you're going through infidelity, where I've been telling a lot of people, I say keep your family out your business, because the first time y'all get back on your family gonna still think you off. So this is where your family is people where they gossip and they say certain things. So it's like needing to know. So it could be workplace. I tell you it's a heavy division of keeping personal, and business. I'm telling you, like it's set in the scene for 2020. You also have Miss Robinson. You have the judgment though. For some of y'all though, this gonna be in that energy where you self-reflect, where you understand like necessarily what is going on, from Miss Robinson to like, is it what you're telling me, what I need to know, or just the narrative? And it's challenging it from a healthy type space, not to get in somebody's business. Because the judgment necessarily comes out where it tells you, like, what is your reputation? And it also says, like, if it's a matter, I told you in the Libra season, I said, no, read this back for Libra. I said, learning to utilize your voice, learning your own moral compass, what is right, what is wrong. When you understand it, you don't have to be in a forceful type nature, because that's the way you feel. Can't nobody take that away from you, because I forgot about this. You got the Knight of Swords sitting over here. Like, okay. So it's like, that's why I said going into that, because we finna switch decks, going into that season, Ace of Wands. So going into that season though, Ace of Wands is like nature tries and making moves up though. I tell you it's actions though. You got Gullah Jack. That's not a, like necessarily good or whatever the case may be. I tell you Gullah Jack is the hangman. It speaks of, I tell you, where he could Ace of Pentacles. I told y'all that. For some of y'all, I told y'all that we're manifesting and trying to come into new things. I said a lot of y'all forget when you're doing it, you have to keep it hush hush. So it's kind of like when they say throw it on the altar when you go to the church and you got down there, you got on your knees and they threw the prayer cloth over you and you praying and shit. Like, don't nobody know what you pray for. So when it started coming into fruition, like making sure you feeling certain things out before you start speaking on them though. You got Ace of Wands and you have the Gullah Jack. For some of y'all know this could be perjury, self perjury. I will say that though it does give me that type of Ace of Pentacles. For some of y'all know it's like self perjury of certain situations and stances or whatever the case may be. Ooh, baby, huh? All right, we got Mother of Wands, we got the Giant Horseman, and we also have the Eight of Swords. Mother of Swords, I tell you, that's kind of like a domineering type personality with the Giant Horseman. I tell you, it could be a counsel that you necessarily seek a place from. And the Eight of Knives, I tell you, the Mother of Swords, it is a hot-tempered, two-faced catty type energy though. So it could be playing of both sides. It was like a family dynamic. I told y'all, for some of y'all, though, it's learning to separate. Because I had left off in the reading where I said, some of y'all find out that y'all family ain't shit. And I scooped it up. And it was like, I left people in a pause, and it was like, what? Like, it was, I never went back to it the next day. Like, the reading kept coming, and I was like, some of y'all recognize that you can't play shit. And it wasn't like that, though. I just left it at that, though. We got two and six though. I tell you, this is fear. This is indecision. For some of y'all, know y'all at the crossroads. You mean at the crossroad, and the path is illuminated though. I told y'all that, and it's like if you have this domineering type personality or person or spiritual counselor or somebody necessarily, it's like some of y'all needed to communicate because I've been telling y'all about the owl and the rabbit. And in the animal kingdom, the owl eats the rabbit, but the owl signifies a person with wisdom. So that doesn't mean that this person has wisdom. It doesn't not have wisdom, but it's just the leading type aspect though. And I tell you, it's been a strange couple past 3 months, like just being energetically intertwined with certain people. But I told y'all, for some of y'all, it's like self perjury. All right, you got 9 of cups, 4 baskets, and a big queen. Hey, they turned up right. It fell. 9 of cups, 4 cups, the big queen, and the 4 wands. 9 of cups, 4 cups, big queen, and 5 of cups. That threw me when it came out reverse. Things can change, right? 9 of cups and the 4 of cups. Yeah, I was gonna say that though. And the big queen and the daughter of baskets though. For some of y'all, though, I kind of feel like if this has something to do mm, this early, wait a minute, y'all. Going back to you hear me say the family type dynamic, where I've been telling people the longest, where if it's siblings or you come from a necessarily big family, some of y'all have to, whoever's the elder, and you going through disagreements with them, you have to learn how to check your source because the people around you may value them more, so they go back and they repeat necessarily what you're saying. So when they repeat what you're saying, it's causing chaos. And I think they have low lack of remorse because 7 of Swords is kind of like the energy of if it's a workplace or if it's a family dynamic, seeing where it's more financially driven or it's just a full of meaning needs. So you really don't have that emotional support. It's kind of like poverty conscious type mindset though, where you see people who be ready to cheat on each other and take from each other ideally though, and it's like, ugh. Okay. All right. But the John Horseman is reversed. So I tell you, that could be power play. And then let's keep going. And I told you, it just gives me like this self perjury type instances, though. Got Leo energy, right? Leader of the pack, but it's also taming your lion. For a nice. That stress, worry, anxiety type situations, that's not knowing necessarily what to do. That could be somebody that's stuck, emotionally crippled, or mentally crippled. I will say that though. Hmm. Right after that, we got Son of Basket. Somebody that's more aloof, that romanticize certain things instead of making a certain action. All right, let's go. We finna switch things up because I feel like I'm snapping y'all skins real quick. You got 10 of Wands. You got the Big Mama reversed. That's the Sun. This is the Star. This is the This is the Sun, and this is the Empress. My bad. That's the Empress. Hmm. Star type energy. For some of y'all though, I kind of feel like it's this energy of like necessarily 10 of Wands and the Big Mama. I tell y'all this is assistance that you necessarily doing it. Big Mama speaks of like how do you receive, how well do you give, like how do people know you. I feel like this is a Sun type energy. But you see how bright that card is. So it's kind of like necessary, like how do you give necessarily? I feel like this could be the family dynamic of heritage of money or lineages or certain things. I feel like this is a family type aspect. I thought y'all was getting that in Cancer season, where necessarily they were talking about relationship dynamic, or this is where the baby mama, baby daddy dynamic kicked the fuck off, where people were feeling entitled to certain things because the big mama energy comes out, where it's necessarily like speaking of. I feel like a lot of y'all don't have elders in y'all family no more, so y'all don't know who could you go to ask for certain things. So a lot of y'all are toting the load necessarily because grandmama them went to college. This is this. They got married. So you living out the expectations of somebody else. It don't have to be grandmama. It could just be generations of poverty conscious mind frame or relationships. Because you also got two of cups, two of swords, and you have the son of pentacles. For some of y'all, this could be the difference in the dynamic of a relationship. Though I told you, previous reading, if y'all watched the Virgo reading, because you got son of knives on the bottom of the deck. I told y'all previous readings where I was getting where it was like this masculine taking care of this feminine financially. Damn near every reader been saying it though. We have, but it was like this masculine that was financially stable, was taking care of this feminine. Ideally though, and it was probably like a big mama big daddy dynamic. He got in a relationship, cut her ass out, like she started showing her ass. So now he's like riddled with should I do, should I not? And it's kind of like this hardship going between two of his expectations. And it's kind of like finances will or whoever doesn't because they're more caught up in the necessarily of the lifestyle. And I told y'all that whole co-parenting type thing. That shit was going on about money dynamic, who receives what I need to get in the family dynamic. I told you if it was passive, it was will covering, financial abundance, or business aspect. I tell you, Libra gonna get real picky because a lot of people just gonna say like they picking at nothing. It's like it already they came into a scab because even though we talk about the Virgo season, like there was a time to necessarily work and heal because Virgo can be a very hyperly unpleasant style of energy to be able to deal with. We just being honest, but it can see, it can pick away at your wounds and everybody else's wounds. So at the time, like this, it was like for some people sitting idle, it was forming calluses, protections. What? Tristan, that's you? But it was like callus type energy. So it's forming calluses. So now that it got hard with a scab and heal, now this fickle energy coming up. Oh, let me put it back. Let me do this. It's like that though. So that's why I think the Virgo season is really tricky. I mean, this Libra season is gonna be really tricky. It is though. A lot of y'all ain't understanding because we've been in this COVID process. So it seems like a lot of people skipping out on healing and just throwing shit to caution because we sit in the house. It's nothing else for me to do. Like that. We just sit in the house. Fuck all that. I don't have to. Okay. All right. Let's go. That's that. Knight of Wands. I'm gonna put that back in the deck. Temperance is the energy of, you hear me say, what eases the soul, the peace. What is it that you need? Understanding, awareness, the patience, gauge. You got Sun reverse, Two of Pentacles, like juggling, micromanaging, understanding. For some of y'all, this is businesses. For some of y'all, this is self awareness. I tell you, this is like learning to know what is factual, what is not, what is personal, what is understanding. This is right, this is wrong. How do I, like a lot of people are in there. Because we got that Hermit. Oh no, this is, I heard Hermit, but Hierophant. Sun came out reverse twice. What is that about? You got Pentacles reverse, Seven of Swords upright, Ace of Swords, Ten of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune. That's why I said a lot of people like that's putting in the work and trying to wrap up karmic cycles. I told y'all some of us can get a little lazy, so we skipping out on certain aspects. Knight of Cups, we got just a little lazy. It won't surprise me if the Hangman is reverse or upright. I don't know. Three of Wands, Page of Wands, Seven of Cups. I need one more. Okay. Nine of Wands, vulnerabilities, feeling exposed, bottom of the deck. We got power. Okay. Now, getting back on the subject, I said the temperance energy is like necessarily figuring out what eases the soul. I tell you, the 10 is completing. For some of y'all, this is karmic. For some of y'all, it's visiting, trying to figure out ideally what is going on. This could be friends, awareness, business, communication style. Truths, harsh truths, understanding lessons. Nine of Wands is like I told you. Nine of Wands is also a card that speaks of not standing your ground, but also feeling like you trampled on. But it also speaks of like if we going into Libra season for some of y'all, this is like a repetitive style type issue, not learning from the past. Where I said like the karmic energy exposes our selfish type behaviors to where like we feel like, oh, I don't want to do that. I shouldn't. I don't want to go down that road again, so I'm gonna do it this way. But you know the road, but you know a back road, but you still get hit with the same amount. Ten of Pentacles, the Moon, and the Ten of Wands, though. For some of y'all, though, this is like, um, I tell you, this is like dropping the act to me. But for some of y'all, it's like the burden. For some of y'all kind of feel like y'all hidden from truth or understanding, though. Like this is that where you hear me say, what are you trying to fertilize? What's going on in the dark? For some of y'all, this is habits, this is understandings, this is careers, jobs, a lot of things coming into fruition for the new year, pushing out product, merch, understanding, damn, they're going into debt, bouncing back, moving houses, careers, situations kind of like this. For some of y'all, though, this is like the understanding of I have to carry this weight from family or understanding, though. That's why I said, because you do got Nine of Swords here. This is a conflict. I understand it though, because some of y'all trying to balance relationships and family, and it's not working. So you feel like you got to sacrifice. That's why this was coming up in the Earth reading. This was coming in the Earth love reading. Over here we got Emperor, the Tower. Oh shit! This could be stepping into your power and control. Libra sister sign is Aries, so I will say that though. This could be stepping into power, control, ascending. I tell you, everybody not gonna make it past the 3D. Some is just religion, understanding right, wrong, moral compass, understanding, taking a higher ground, but also knowing how it feels to be on the bottom. For some of y'all, though, I kind of feel like if it's a work or letting go, or the old structure, paradigm, like letting go to where it's this, like okay, I'm letting it go. For some of y'all though, you see that like it's habitual type things with certain people where they keep doing the same thing. Because the Nine of Wands speaks of not learning from the past. The Ten of Wands is letting it go, and that's where we would be at the Ace. So it's like I told y'all in the energy, I said a lot of people are getting new beginnings, but they keep doing the same thing and not putting shit into it. So yeah, that's why I said for some of y'all though, that's understanding. For some of y'all, there could be new relationships ideas that's coming in. I tell you, businesses, contracts that shake up a lot of shit, like burning down the old. So let's go. We're on the 13 here. We're gonna explain these 13s. We got the Sun reverse. Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, but you also got the Three of Wands. I told y'all action based. A lot of people are necessarily returning back to the same style behavior. So that's kind of like if you're not happy here, I'm not happy at home, so I'm gonna pick up more hours at work. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go be self fulfilled. I'm gonna go do this self instead of facing self. So Three of Wands, I tell you, that's like that though. That's like failures. And it's like coming to the light. So that's why I said for some of y'all, though, it's like easing it out. It's kind of like harsh truths. Where I was just saying to you, what would you rather? Would you rather the internet know or God? Like, hey, look, nigga. Like, shit, I'd rather let God tell me than spirits, ancestors, divine beings, than that damn internet. Cause that's a cruel place, baby. Two of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. And a Page of Wands, though. I told y'all that for some of y'all juggling this idea when it comes for inner child or happiness or figuring out necessarily what works for you of how could you change the narrative or it could be conversation style. Because air signs kind of have like that ability to bring up topics that shouldn't be brought up. It's timing. Timing. So for some of y'all, though, it's kind of like juggling and dealing with this. So bad news travels faster than good. Remember that. Then you have the Hierophant here. So I tell you, this could be marriages, relationship styles, unhappiness, commitments, pregnancy, understanding, abundance, newness, needing some sun, some lightness. Like this COVID energy has become routine. That's why I was like, baby, 2022, I'm not wearing no mask. Fuck is you talking about? I mean, 2021, I'm not wearing no mask, but we not doing that shit. Wheel of Fortune and the Knight of Cups. We got Wheel of Fortune reversed in the Knight of Cups. But you also had a 7, which goes back to the Three of Cups. Number 6 also speaks of where you hear me say reversed, where it's in a state of where I told y'all that's like easy being dominated, but it also speaks of the human weaknesses. So for some of y'all, it could be substances. Some it could be gossip. For some, it could be returning back. Some it could be trauma bonded. Some it could be tied to certain things because that is the epitome of devil type energy. For some of y'all, it's just doing the same thing to where you emotionally burn yourself out and going through a horrible time to where I seen people who be on their karmic cycles and they go through certain things. They're like, this is building me. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, it's just telling you to drop the act. Let it go. Like, that's the epitome of 7 of cups, and the 9 of wands reversed. That's why I said this Libra energy is gonna be real. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because you got to get yourself. So because the Libra energy is fickle. It is though. It's very fickle though. Mm-hmm. It is. I gotta give me some more positive patties for y'all though. I really do. We're gonna use the moonology so it can give us what aspects necessarily like what energies we'll be necessarily working with. Moon aspects, signs, I don't know. Ooh, that's a tough titty. Don't let your past hold you back. That's South Node. I tell you that got something to do with like past life instances, karmic situations. It would just seem like it's gonna be repetitive in this Libra energy. Step out your comfort zone, North Node. That's gonna say a lot of people gonna be challenged. To where they're like, oh my God, this is making or break me. I knew I went through all this to come out to this. Because 2021 is on the rise. So a lot of people, 2021 is on the rise. So a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm finna get this. I was down, now I'm up. And the people who didn't learn, they finna go around. And they gonna see people gonna be like, man, get off me. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to hear that. And it's gonna be like, oh, but I used to do this. And they gonna be hit with it. Because this is the baking area. That's why the sun is reversed. It's like the fertilizer. It's like going on. It's like seems unhappy in situations not necessarily going on, but it's like baking shit. It's in the oven with the light not being on. End of a tough cycle approaches. Same thing. Full moon and cap. Look at the bigger. That's why I said that's Libra energy, what I was talking about. Look at the bigger picture. Even though this full moon and Sag and we got full moon and Cap, this is relinquishing first and last. Zodiac, the first and the last, the beginning to the end. Beginning to the end. You see that? Bottom of the deck, conclusions already reached. So that's why I said this is the beginning to the end. For some of y'all started out on that path, and some of y'all are ending it. For some are still on this path, and they trying to, oh yes, oh this is I'm going over here, like a new area. Yeah, well, all these people they didn't do this, they didn't do this, they did it, like not aware of why or the understanding, and going to go do the same thing they complained about the others. They, for some of y'all, it's gonna need. I told you that before. A lot of people who be on it. Oh, leave it in God's hands. To just love and light, where they always just operate in a nicer self. Baby, them shadows is gonna be they gonna be challenged. They gonna be like, oh, you think? Yeah, let me try. Girl, let me stop. I'm trying to give y'all a positive affirmation before we go into. I'm trying to pull that out of there. Yeah. When I get through pulling these animal cards, I'll read it to y'all at the end. I like these. All right. Got from yeah, animals. Um, baby, I'm praying on you. Animals. Let's go. Oh, we got the unicorn. I tell you, that got something to do with that one. Is this? What's that one? Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Pineal gland, protecting the eye. What is it that you see? What is it that you know? Clairvoyance with the owl. Look at that. Ooh, I wish I could see these cards. Ooh. Dragonfly versus this. Transmuting and turning into light. For some of y'all may have been blocked intuitively understanding certain people, own actions and situations. That's how a lot of people gonna come off the karmic being the karmic. Hyena. I'll show y'all the hyena spirit is knowing when to let something go. Alright, okay, let's go. I pull about 3 of these. Explain. Girl, one through the fish. Well, 4 came out. We'll take that. Oh, Scorpion. Didn't I say that, though? That's my 13 card spread. Fish. Okay. All right. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. You got the lion. I told y'all when a lion energy comes up, that Leo type energy or whatever. So because Venus is in Leo, by the way. Oh, it's about obtaining leadership over the pack. It's about healthy skills operating with other people. For some of y'all, this frog is like cleansing you, the group, the setting, the people who are in the pack, whose leadership, who's understanding, who is active, whose strengths, whose weaknesses is understanding. So it's going through a cleansing process. Because you have the bat and the fish, the Piscean type energy, where it speaks of like sacrifices, letting certain things go, nocturnal type experiences or whatever the case may be. What is it that you do see? Like the intuitiveness, where you hear me say going through the dark, the shadowy, necessarily understanding those aspects of the two. Because the fish necessarily, you hear me say, can go in either way direction. But is it? No, it's not reverse. So it's going upstream. For some of y'all, I learned how to swim upstream while dealing with. Is it turbulence in water? I don't know. You know how like the water going this way, the water going this. No, the water going this way while you trying to go this way. So it's like dealing with the blowback. So this is the karmic. This is the whatever it is. Okay, yeah. But that's why I said for some of y'all know it's like needing to tap into that power to say, I gotta get where I gotta go. I gotta make some transformations. I gotta do what I gotta. But you also have on the bottom of the deck, you got sea serpent, sacral, reproductive, creative processes, abundance, bringing into awareness, creating, elephant, movement, coming out of the dark, illuminating, wisdom, understanding. What did you learn? They said elephant has a strong memory, so it's like understanding like how things played out and like happened in your life instead of just holding on to the pain and not being the scorpionic energy of being vindictive. For some people, yeah, never mind. That's a whole nother video for another day. All right. Yeah, so it's like that there. Even though it's like they're holding on to the pain, but it's also being able to transform. Because that speaks of where you hear me say where the scorpion goes from the scorpion, then it goes to the eagle, and then scorpion, eagle, then it goes to the phoenix. So it arises. So that's why I said it'll rise. I am here, baby. I am here. And that's action based because they got this under the fire in this deck though. Ooh. The scorpion is passionate, competitive, tends towards isolation. When it is in balance, it is wild, it is free, it is fierce. When it is out of balance, it is jealous, resentful, and unresolved. Um, Sometimes the scorpion heat festers and it unresolved events from the past. Usually a situation where they feel left burned. Scorpion card says that it is time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. So that's why I said for some of y'all, this is the season where you gotta figure out like what do I keep reproducing? Is it me? Is it them? Is it this? So you hit the 9 of wands. Okay, first card out. It is safe to look within. I told y'all, like, this is all over the place. It's not all over the place, the reading, but I told you that's what Libra season gonna feel like. Like, it's like all over the place. I ain't reading the back. I see my parents as tiny children who need love. I have compassion for my parents' childhood. I know that I chose them because they were perfect for what I had to learn. I forgive them and set them free, and I set myself free. That's why I said it goes back to the dynamic of I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, you do this, you do this, all that energy. Loving others is easy when I love and accept myself. I told you that's that. And then you got trust in my inner wisdom. Because I told y'all the unicorn had landed being reversed. On and on this Libra season, I said, baby, you can be challenged. Challenged. Because that's an air sign. Because I told you once an air sign feel like they got the facts, they got the facts. And they will argue your ass up and down with no emotion. So it's kind of like their emotion intertwined. Theirs. Nobody else's. That's what it is, though. So it's theirs. So they'll feel the way they feel the way. So that's why I said with that family dynamic, feel it coming on the rise. I told you a lot of people say, no, you had the advantage. Mom did this for you. Mom did this. You had this. And it's kind of like, okay. So what can I do about it? And it's not saying like, oh, well, mom did this for you, and because of this, you were insensitive to us or to me, and you knew like that. Explain it. It's just this aggressive. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there though. That's a deep soul working. So on and know, y'all, I'm gone. Bye.